dude. I need to get it together. They think they can do what we do, but do it better. Jive turkeys getting bread and getting cheddar. Don't get sandwiched by a real competitor. Let them up, I'm getting better. No time to be fed up. Go get us for false profits. Get stoned like Rosetta. I'm just getting started, sorry I can't let up. And even if I could, I wouldn't, cause it's a setup for the next line. Wait in line for the next time. My intellect's fine, what I find is nothing's really mine. Do whatever it takes to get better. Do whatever it takes to get better. Do whatever it takes to get better. I am better. I am whatever.
Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of HeroClix. This is going to be a microcast, and this is probably not going to be posted, so for all of you out there that are loyal subscribers, good for you, because you're going to get this. Yay! Anyway, we're going to talk about building one's collection, and hopefully this doesn't take too long. And I want to give shouts out to several people who've contacted me and has inspired this show. One is Audit Ninja, another one is DS Nelly, Shoe Bear 63, and also Captain Cuba. We exchange ideas. And I think his other cat's name is Robert. I think his name's Robert. Yeah, Robert and Tom. Two guys send me some emails, so big up to y'all. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the encouragement. But this cast is for you all, since you're newer into the game. And it seems like Mika is trying to not just eat your lunch, but take your dessert and then kick your dog. So let's go in on how to build a collection. And I'm going to give you my personal tricks on how I actually save a mint on getting figures. Okay. First off, talk to your venue. Now, you have different types of venues. You have, hello, we're brick and mortar, and that's all we are, venues. And then you have, hello, we're brick and mortar, but we also dabble with online sales. And then you also have, hello, we're brick and mortar, we dabble with online sales mainly through eBay. The main difference between the latter two is, one of the places I go to, they have their own online store. So they're online, so you can go to their website, buy directly from them anytime. And that has an advantage. When you deal with eBay, eBay is like the gambler's cut. It's like, hey, we're rolling dice on this. Now, a lot of the serious stores set minimum bids or buy it nows. But really, most stores and most dealers that are online only, really set up for saying start off at 99 cents. Now, Amazon is a completely different bag, and Amazon is not cheap. And unless you're getting a Amazon gift certificate or something like that, Amazon becomes worse than brick and mortar because for how much you're paying, you could have supported your local store most of the time. So first off is determine what you're going to play. I've been saying that for a while. Go through the set list and write down your list. And then sort of ask yourself, from the commons to the rares, if I piecemeal this together, is this going to cost me more than $50? If so, talk to the person at your store and say, hey, I know you guys open cases to sell singles on eBay. Here's the deal. I know you're going to open probably 2 cases to sell singles. I will buy a CUR set from you. If it's up to 40 characters, you're pretty much saying for every derivative of 10 is $10, or you could just say rares end at 37. I will pay you $37. Pretty much you're hedging the cost by saying you're paying $1 a figure. Okay. Now you might say, well, I'm going to get a whole bunch of figures I'm not going to use. Yes, purely true. But at the other end of it, what you're also doing is you're getting figures that you would have paid way more for a lot less. So this does two big things. One, it says to the store, hey, this guy is willing to do business with me, instead of going to eBay or to Amazon. At the other end, the store gets to maintain your business, and you're not spending an arm and a leg. Okay? It's best to talk to the store owner early and say, hey, I can't keep affording this the rate Mika's releasing sets. It's either I stop buying or I do this from you, and I buy singles from you. So what do you want to do? Now, if you just be blunt with the store owner and say, give them time to think about it, you're most likely going to get a deal. If you pressure them too much, you might have some problems. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to say this I don't mean this in a disrespectful manner. Buying a case is not a wise investment anymore. I played back in the day before cards. Buying a case, Perfect Distribution was really supernova, and you could get your 3 to 4 rares, and actually you would get multiple rares, and then you would get 3 to 4 uniques. That's it, and you would be golden. If you bought a case, you were just about a complete set, and you didn't have that duplicate stuff that really started at Avengers. That stuff didn't kick in. Anyway, but by making deals with your local store owner and getting a CUR means that they're shifting out, in all honesty, the chaff of a case or a brick. The hardest stuff to move from a retailer's perspective is the CUR that is not generics. Okay, in the common slot, if you're not a generic and you're not a power piece, it's hard to move. Ask yourself, how many Jikus do you want? Yeah, how many Mr. Hydes do you want? How many eels do you want? Not a lot. You probably only just need one. And so does like the rest of the internet. Unless someone has some weird plan that they're going to do. So you don't need multiples. Okay, but by telling your store owner, hey, I'll pretty much just scoop this up for you, you're doing them a favor. Okay. Now, if they don't do anything online, talk to them and say, hey, $100 for a brick is outrageous. Can we knock this down to $80? Or say like, okay, what's your cost for a brick? Okay, that's your cost. I'll pay $20 more than your cost, and I'll still play seals. Okay, you can do that, or you can say, I'll play bricks at cost. I'll pay my brick at cost, but you're going to store my brick here and mark it off for the next 2 seals that we have. Or I'm going to leave, 4 boosters here. They're marked off as mine, cannot be sold, anything like that. Okay, so that way you retain some value. Now, I will say this: if you do want to buy a brick, the value in a brick is that you will get one chase. What that chase is, it's a crapshoot, but it's usually like 1 out of 8 nowadays. So you have a chance of getting a chase. So you can look at it like this: you spend more money and get a brick, which nets you a chase, or you can buy a CUR and buy the chase you want outright. Now, the main reason I bring this up is I did this for Superman set. And to clarify, give some background, I quit my job. Like, you quit your job in this economy? Yeah, I was pissed off at my job. I quit my job to go do continuing education stuff for my actual degree. I have a master's degree. And so I was trying to go and do some continuing education. So I was like, man, I can't afford to buy, bricks of stuff. So I went and bought a CUR off of eBay for a Superman set, which was about $45. That set was expensive because that was a powerful set. And then what I did is I just bought the Superman chase like flat out for like $50, like the Earth One chase, and then I bought all the singles and all the rares I wanted. I spent total probably $125. Now I say that mainly because I dumped a whole lot of money on the chase, and I learned, that's not smart coming in. But okay, now looking at the chase in particular, it was Earth One Superman, and I pretty much had teams to break him. So that's sort of leading into my next point is make sure everything that you buy, that you're paying for up front, you have teams lined up to use them. Don't be like, well, I'm going to need that. In all honesty, you're really not. There's a few times where you're going to be like, yep, I'm going to need that. And guess what? You're going to play that figure within the next 2 weeks of you buying it. Okay? So if you don't have a game in the next 2 weeks that needs that piece, guess what? You can wait to buy that piece. You do not need to buy it now. As one teacher once told me, he called it the popcorn machine test. He said, you go into the store, you see that there's this big carnival-type popcorn machine. And you say, man, that would be awesome. I can make popcorn, and how much cheaper would it be for me to just buy kernels? And I can butter my own popcorn, and it'll be great, and I'll save so much money. Then say to yourself, you look at the price tag, and it says $500. And you're like, ooh, that's a little steep. That's going to break my budget. The guy told me this. If you can come back 5 days later and look at that popcorn popper and say, yeah, I need that, go ahead, make that buy. Same thing I'll tell you for your chases. Why do super rares go for $18 standard when the set comes out, and literally about 4 weeks later, 3 to 4 weeks later, you can get that same super rare for about $12, and about 3 months later, you can get that super rare, if you're lucky, for $10, and if it wasn't really a popular super rare, you can get it for under $10. Now, note, let's look at this grand mark of deflation. Set comes out, brand new, super rare is worth $18. Time passes, super rare is worth $12. More time passes, super rare is worth less than $10. Unless it's a high meta piece, your value of your super rares go down. Your values of the figures in the set go down. If you're gaming on a budget, and you know what, Chaos War just came out, time to buy Incredible Hulk. Oh my gosh, so time to buy Incredible Hulk. I got the little chases from men in China, with no cards, and I paid less than $15. I have a Chase Hulk Mariner, and I have a Chase Mr. Fantastic, and you know what? They're 100% legal to play. But they weren't brought over here, and they don't have the card. So what? Little Chinese man, little Japanese man, little Filipino man, it doesn't matter. That figure that he's selling me is the same figure. Unless there's Chinese, Japanese, Filipino written on there, which is not. It's English numerics. It's 100% legal. Okay? So don't get discouraged. If you look at a seller on eBay and they have like a 90, really I say like a 98 to 100% approval rating, then they're pretty much good to deal with. It doesn't matter where they're at. If you can catch the deal and the rate of currency, translation and all that, it's all good. But I know for the little Chinese guys over there, they just say like free shipping, and that's it. Free shipping for China. And I'm paying him $10 for a little piece, and from China to over here, the guy probably spent $1 of that, and he profited, 90%. So anyway, go on eBay, go buy chases from old sets. I know, and just to sort of emphasize a point, if there was a powerful piece now, and there was a powerful piece back in the day that has that figure's same name, go buy that powerful piece that was good back in the day so you can bring it out for Golden Age games. Case in point, KC Superman. When Crisis came out, before Crisis came out, KC Superman was a $100 piece. After Crisis came out and the new KC Superman came out, the old KC Superman dropped to $50. Now, that's still high, but, he dropped. So I bought KC Superman for $50. Now, some people might say, well, Dark Logos, that's sort of stupid. He's not as good as the new KC Superman. Yeah, but the new KC Superman is worth $120. Not dropping that. Old KC Superman, still scary. New KC Superman, scary but expensive. Gotta weigh those odds. You gotta weigh those. Okay? So just sort of keep that in mind. Next thing I tell people is play and trade. Play and trade. If you buy your CUR, you're most likely not going to have anything to trade. But after you do a couple of seals, if you decide to do seals, you're going to have some stuff to trade. Talk to your buddies. Say, hey, I got a couple of these. Can I get this from you? And definitely after a seal's done, they'll be like, yeah, I want to get rid of this anyway. I'm not a fan of Donald Blake. I'm not a fan of Ant-Man. I'm not a fan of Baron Zemo. I'm not a fan of blah, 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 blah. People have arbitrary reasons. Don't screw over your friends and the people you play with. Offer honest trades. Okay? So once you do all these things, you're able to approach the meta table and say, hey, I bought a CUR of Hulk now for $20. Okay, I have a complete CUR for Hulk for $20. Where would it cost me to piecemeal all that together? $50. So be economical. Definitely if you're coming into the game now, look at a set, type that set into eBay, type HeroClix, that set, CUR, and see if you can find it. And I'm betting you most likely can. Okay? The next thing I would tell you is closer to retirement, the cheaper the set, unless there was limited print. GSX is the only set that's actually gone up in value and not down. And even then, if it's not a super rare, you can get most of those figures for reasonable value. Because I know I can get like a Cypher for like $2. Now, that is a tad high, but mind you, he's one of the most broken pieces in the game. Okay, so $2 Cypher, not bad. You can get a Cyclops, I think, for $5, maybe $6 if the guy's really trying to stick it to you. So, but really, you can get GSX. It's just a matter of, are you going to pay GSX money? So don't listen to people saying, well, it's sold out and they can't get it. No, there's some guy that had a bad run on his luck, or a woman had bad run on her luck, and they got to sell what they have. And this plastic crap is no longer important. Point blank, when keeping it real goes wrong, and you got to sell everything, plastic men don't matter. Okay, there's bigger things that are floating around. Okay, so check that out. Also, try to check batch sales. Batch sales are magic, because in batch sales, people will put like 15 crappy figures and one good figure and inflate the price. But if you need all those little crappy figures, you're getting a deal. The best batch sale that I saw that happened recently was Rick Jones, Captain Marvel, and A-Bomb. And I think it went for $7. I know that because I was trying to get another Rick Jones, and I saw that little deal, and I was like, well, I don't have A-Bomb. Having it would be cool, but I'm never going to play it, so, oh well. So, look for those. Those are great ways to find cheap pieces. Also, I would say this. If your store sells singles, or a store sells singles around you, except vintage stock, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Vintage stock is its own different thing. Go ahead and see if you can haggle. Store owners don't mind haggling as long as you don't try to screw them over, because they even know that the prices are marked up. They're covering for the cost of those little figures sitting there. And if those figures have been sitting there for a while, they'll cut you a deal. Okay, now into vintage stock, and why vintage stock is sort of bunk. You can bring scales into vintage stock. Some vintage stocks allow that. I know a bunch that allow that, okay? And you can weigh boosters. So if you know MODOK weighs this much, and the average booster is weighing, Y amount, and then you just like, okay, this is heavy, this is heavy, this is heavy, this is heavy. Okay, I've picked out all the heavy pieces in the set. I most likely have a MODOK. Okay, so you can look at it like that. When a set comes out, and if you hear on the realms like, blah, 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 sculpt is heavy, blah, 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 sculpt is heavy, or you can look at it and it's like, yep, that's heavy. There's no way that that's not heavy. Like I'm feeling my super rare Sinister, Mr. Sinister. He's not really light. He's lighter than some, but he's heavy. He's not heavier than MODOK, but he's definitely heavy. And him and Void is noticeable of being heavy. And there's not a lot of other figures in the set that are commons or uncommons that are heavy. So you can go off and find tons of super rares or big heavy figures real easily. Definitely if you go back to Crisis, for real, you could just find Spectres and Supermans all day. Again, I really advise, do not go to vintage stock to buy. Trade in, maybe, get some sealed product, but if it's open and on the floor, most likely it's crap. Someone's gone through it in some form or fashion. Don't waste your time. Other than that, the biggest thing I would say next is trading online. Trading online really is a crapshoot, and many times people are trying to screw you over. On the realms in particular, there's only a select few people I would trade with, and pretty much everybody else is trying to screw you over. I hate to say it. If you're going to trade on the realms, you're looking at a piece that's a chase or a very hard to find piece just due to collation, and you're just saying, hey, this is what I have, this is what I want. Anybody that wants to go out there and offer me this, fine. I'll be holding on this figure until then. And you'll get several things. You can tell if someone's reasonable if you have your haves and want list, and then someone offers you consistently something on even balance, then you have a good trader. There was one guy that I traded with. I can't remember his name. I think it was like Green Lantern something or other. And, if this guy called me today and said, hey, I heard you had this piece, you want to trade, I would trade with him in, a drop of a hat. And the main reason is that the guy didn't try to screw me over in trades. And that's the big thing. You have to find people that are not going to try to get over on you. And unfortunately, that's hard. And I'll give my own example. I got, during DC 75th, I pulled Hal Jordan White Lantern. He sucks. He really sucks. But I already knew, like, hey, I need to get rid of this guy while the iron's hot and while everybody is looking for him, okay? So what I ended up doing is I went to the realms and I said, I will trade White Lantern Hal for one, really it was like White Lantern Flash or White Lantern Wonder Woman and 2 super rares. I had people offer me a Foom. I had people offer me, super rares, like 3 super rares. I had people offer me all sorts of various different things. that was sort of ridiculous. But in the end, what I did, I said, like, this is what I need. I traded for White Lantern Flash, a Heimdall, and Shield Superman from that set. The Superman with the eagle on his arm. Now, here's the thing. I really came out ahead. And at the time, White Lantern Flash was a lot cheaper than Super Rare Hal. I think Super Rare Hal was like $60 or $70, and I think like White Lantern Flash was like $40 or $50. But pretty much White Lantern Hal was the highest costing Super Rare. I mean Chase figure. But in the end, I came out ahead, and I had to stop myself from taking the Foom because I felt like, hey, I'm ripping this dude off. So even with yourself, sort of say like, hey, I don't want someone to screw me over. So I'm not going to screw anyone else over. Oh yeah, the guy's name Green Lantern 73. Also, I traded with Ignat's Mouse. He's great. And I traded with Big Blue Beast 1982. Good trades too. So trade with those people. They are endorsed by me. So yeah. But other than that, other places that you go trade at your own risk. There's a lot of scams out there. HC Realms, there's a minor bit of enforcement, but definitely you're trading at your own risk. Definitely, with certain people, unless they're high-profile people or people that have a long trade history, you probably want to be a little bit leery. Okay, that's pretty much it. So just brief wrap up. Talk to your store owner. See if you get a CUR. Go on, eBay. If your store owner won't sell it to you, buy CURs. Buy the super rares that you need. Buy the figures that you need, not the ones that are, oh my gosh, it looks cool. Make sure you have a plan for using them. Go to vintage stock with a scale. I know it sounds cheap, but yeah, just go to there with the scale. Trade at your own risk. Trade with people with high ratings. And I'm going to end on this note. It's a positive. I have a positive story and a bad story about eBay. Actually, I have two positive. I have a bunch of positive stories and two negatives that actually stand out. When I first got into the game, I made the big mistake because I said to myself, money solves everything. And I just threw money at it. I threw 7 G's. Literally, like no joke, I threw 7 G's at the game when I came in. And I went to buy the first Thanos. Now go online and look at the stats for the first Thanos. Okay, it's not that great, people. I bought the item from the guy. I paid him the $20 for it. 1 week went by, 2 weeks went by. I didn't hear anything from him. I PM'd him. I was like, hey, I haven't received my Thanos. He's like, well, whatever, it'll come. 3 weeks went by, 4 weeks went by. I said, hey, haven't received my Thanos. What's going on? Then I didn't hear from him. And then I had to send a report through with PayPal and pretty much say the guy scammed me. I never received my product. He didn't give me a tracking number, which is also essential. Always get a tracking number. And, it ended up biting me. I ate $20. Another example is that, now some people might call me naive for doing the following. I bought a tester online. I paid $30 total. And I was like, it's a good deal. I got a tester. And what ended up happening is the guy was sending out multiple orders, and he sent me Galactus. Now, I could have said, woohoo, God has blessed me with the Galactus. I'm going to keep this sucker. But I decided to do the right thing. I called the guy back. Well, I PM'd the guy. I said, hey, you're probably going to hear from your other customer, and come to find out that they didn't receive their order. that they have a tester and I have a Galactus. What do you want to do? And well, he told me, he said, okay, I'll refund you your money, and I will send you shipping, cost of shipping, for sending Galactus back. So I was like, okay. So I sort of ended up in a bad situation because he just refunded me my money. He didn't give me money to mail Galactus. So I was like, okay, well, he's going to mail me the money once, or he's going to send me the money once I get the Galactus to him. So I mailed the Galactus back to the seller, and I was waiting on the money, and I never got the money. So before Chaos Wars went out, I saved my review for him, and I gave him a negative review. And pretty much on the top of his list, as he sells his Chaos War stuff, is a note saying that the guy isn't trustworthy and that if there's any problems, he's going to make you eat it. So I'm not going to say that seller's name on the air. So, but at the same time, for a positive, and I want to end on a positive note, I bought like a batch of the GSX Colossals because he had a Frost Giant. For how much I was paying for that batch, I was going to end up buying a Frost Giant from my local seller for like the same amount. And I tried to haggle on the Frost Giant, and they wouldn't give. So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't have to buy it from you. So I bought this batch, and I got like another Sentinel, Nemesis, Frost Giant, and Onslaught. Yes, because I wanted Onslaught. Yeah, an Onslaught. Oh, God. Yeah, that was it. Oh, man. I think I paid $35. $35 or $40. Well, no, actually it was Onslaught, Frost Giant, and I think it was Nemesis. So anyway, that was the order. The guy PMs me and he says, literally as I was packing it, the spear broke. Don't worry, I'll make it up to you. So I was like, well, okay, you'll make it up to me. That's fine, I already knew that the spear was like flimsy, so I really wasn't stressing on that. And so I received my package, and when I opened up my package, there was a Sentinel, and it's not one of the Toys R Us Sentinels, but it was a 300-point Sentinel. So now I've gotten a 300-point Sentinel for free. Anyway, I don't think I can find that guy's stuff. I think I know what it is. I think it's probably an individual who was selling stuff. But anyway, just side note, some people that I do recommend on eBay. This is not paid endorsement. This is just my thing. So this is not a commercial. So people don't be going reporting me as this is a commercial. Buzzy Mother, B-U-Z-Z-Y. She gives you like her own little powers and abilities card. She does get some of the powers wrong, but she sends you stuff in like tin cans, so it's like super cheap shipping. And it's reusable materials, so like big shout outs to her. Heroes-Zeros, another great eBayer group. Hair Comics, Hair Comics free shipping is just a bunch of fun. Another one is the-comic-shop, and yeah, I think also like Wolverine. I don't know if he's still in the game. Sometimes he posts on the realms about all the business in. I bought some stuff from him, a little bit below market value, but you're always getting your stuff on time, and he always does really good communication with you. I do not like Troll and Toad. They are a heck of high, and unfortunately, they're one of the reasons why the markets for singles is a bit high. I know some people love them. I just don't. I'm not hating on them. I don't say they do bad business practices or anything. I just think they're a little bit expensive. All right, that's it. If you have any little economic tips, hit me up at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, I think if you can teach other people how to save money, that's a great thing too. I do know some players out there who buy multiple cases and become sellers themselves. Talk to those players, see if you can hustle out a deal. All right, that's it. And I hope you enjoyed this microcast. And remember, we all got to start over sometime.